So you're looking at starting a marketing agency. Well, there's good news and there's also bad news. But before I get into that, make sure you grab yourself a cup of coffee, smash the subscribe button, and get ready to watch this video. So first of all, why would you want to be watching me? So you've obviously clicked on this video for some sort of reason. Now, a bit of backstory about myself. I've been running a digital marketing agency since I think it was around May of 2023, where I actually shut that agency down and then partnered up with my business partner, which I've now been doing this agency full time since November 2023. And during that time, I've made tons and tons of mistakes, and I've also learned a lot along the way to allow myself to be, financially okay. I'm doing this full time. I don't have to do anything else. I quite enjoy it, and there's a lot to learn because it's not as simple as everybody else online. So I'm guessing you guys are probably seeing some other YouTubers, some people on TikTok. They're a lot younger than you. Some people are a lot older than you, telling you how they're making $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a month from just running ads for businesses. Well, bad news. It's not that simple anymore. Ty Lopez, he started the social media marketing trend back in 2016 with his Here in My Garage video.
Here in my garage, just bought this new Honda Civic here.
I think everybody knows that. I think it was like the most watched ad online. But anyways, nowadays, everybody and their dog is actually starting up a marketing agency. So there's a lot of competition out there, and you've actually got to be unique and separate yourself from the market. The truth, right? It's actually never been easier to start up a marketing agency. There's crazy amounts of advice on the internet compared to what it was only 12 months ago when I started my agency, but it's actually more competitive than ever. So number one, first thing I would say is don't be buying any courses. There's people out there like Iman Gansi, Ty Lopez, all these other people trying to sell you some courses. And yes, they will have some good information in it, but there's nothing that you can't actually get from watching free YouTube videos online. Because at the end of the day, right, there's so many people out there giving away so much information that there's no real need to purchase a course, in my personal opinion. You just got to find a couple of creators online that actually do exactly what they're telling you they do, not just sell a course, and continue watching their videos and get yourself educated. So make sure, once again, smash the subscribe button, become a subscriber, and I'm going to keep uploading some videos. So nowadays, there's people as young as 14 years old that are starting up a marketing agency from their parents' bedroom or their basement, trying to make some money online, which is fantastic. But at the same time, with so many people and especially brand new beginners starting up a marketing agency, it's made it extremely hard to actually get credibility and trust within the niches that you choose to go after, because there's been so many people offering these insane Lamborghinis, such as like, I'll guarantee you two to 300 leads a month, or a free Lamborghini if I don't get you that. So it's become quite hard because a lot of people have been burned. And when you're on sales calls, there's generally a lot of, how I would say it, not convincing, but persuasion to actually help these people understand your point of difference. And to do that, it takes a lot of work in actually understanding the industry and the solutions that you're providing to their problems. But the sustain on the industry, which means there's also a huge opportunity for you to make a lot of money if you're actually good. So let me explain. This is just one of the text messages that I got from one of my clients a little while ago. So essentially what he says is, I spoke with the first 2 clients from CoreWave, which is my agency, and it was such an improvement from the other leads I've been wasting money on. Thanks guys, love your work and looking forward to working for a long time. So how did I actually get this message? How am I doing better than the majority of the other agency owners out there? And it's actually quite simple. It's not rocket science, but it is something that I had to learn. And if I started that at the beginning of my agency, which you guys can do, I'd be in a lot better position than I currently am now. But I'll get into that shortly. So how do I actually get results when other agencies can't? And it generally comes down to that you need to control every single process in the lead generation, funnel. And what I mean by that is you need to understand your client's ideal client profile, which is also called the ICP. So whenever we have a onboarding call or a strategy session with our clients, we figure out exactly who their ideal audience is, where they live, what they're interested in, what their pains are, what their desired outcomes are, and then we go and create the ads that match their ideal client profile. That way there, it seems like we're talking directly to them on the ads. That way there, we're able to get them the better quality leads at a cheaper cost. Number 2, the biggest thing that's made the most improvement in my agency and the overall quality of the leads and conversion rate for my clients is we actually call up the leads for our clients ourselves. We do that all in-house. I have a trained team of Australian appointment setters who actually call up my clients' leads, and we pay them commission on every booking that shows up to the call. So number 1, this allows you and your business to have what I call quality control, where if you're calling up the leads yourself, you're going to actually be able to understand what the quality of the leads are like coming off the ads, which then gives you a lot better leverage in actually creating better ads to get the better quality. And it's actually much better process to do that rather than relying on your clients to call up the leads themselves, just because sometimes your clients might be super busy and they might be able to get to them within the first couple of days, which is what I experienced with my very first client. So with my very first client, I charged them absolutely nothing. We just ran some ads for them on TikTok, actually. We got them quite a few leads, but they were just sitting there in their pipeline for a number of days without anybody contacting them. And if in case you guys are not aware, you need to be contacting your leads within the first 24 hours and then putting in the inquiry, which is what we're actually able to do by having a trained team of Australian appointment setters. Now, I'm not saying go out there and get a team of appointment setters. You can literally start off by calling the leads yourself and then start to bring on people into your team to actually do that for you once you've scaled it up and you have enough clients to the point where you can't handle calling up all of their leads. Number two, when you actually call up your clients' leads, you can pre-qualify them. And that's essentially the number one service that we do for our clients is. So we sit down with them, and I actually work in the property and finance sector, so they do have to meet some sort of criteria, but this works for every single industry. What I mean by pre-qualifying them is you just have to understand what criteria these leads need to meet in order for your client to actually be able to convert them into a paying client themselves. So in my industry, for example, when we work with mortgage brokers, number one, if they're doing a refinance, which is essentially when they switch their interest rate to a lower interest rate to save some money, number one, they need to be on a variable interest rate, not a fixed interest rate. Number two, they need to have a home loan size, of over $300,000. They need to have some income. They need to be employed, and then we need to get the overall amount of debt that they have as themselves, whether or not that be credit cards, afterpay, car loans, whatever it is. It's different for every industry, but you need to determine what criteria these leads need to meet in order to book them in for your clients. Now, just a little bit of a pro tip. We've experimented with booking them in for a Zoom call, a Google Meet, a Teams call, a phone calls, and by far we have found what increases the show-up rates for our clients is by booking them in for a phone call. Now, this phone call could go for as little as 5 minutes or could go for as long as 30 minutes. We generally find these phone calls go for about 15 to 20 minutes when we book them in with our clients, and by booking them in for a phone call, we're able to get a much better show-up rate, which obviously increases the chances of your clients doing the conversions. Now, what else do we do for our clients? Instead of just calling up the leads, for example, right? So we call up, let's say, Joe. Joe has put an inquiry online to do a refinance. We book them in with our client. They don't show up to the call. We actually recall them back up and rebook them back in. And the best part about this service is you can actually charge for each booked appointment that you get your client, which then allows you to get more revenue for your business. It's a value add for your client because they don't have to go call up their own leads. They have to go through all the tie kickers, all the dud leads. They're only going to be speaking to the ones that are pre-qualified by your team. Now, my client above that you just saw that gave me this awesome testimonial here, he's actually on track to pay me $4,300 this month just for booking him in appointments alone. Now, the big question is, how can you do the same thing? So number one is you need to choose one niche, not 12. There's too many people out there that are going after so many different niches. So exactly how do you choose a niche that you should go after for your business? So I have a quick little simple formula that I like to use and I like to tell people in order for them to go out there and successfully choose a niche for their marketing agency. So there's hundreds of them out there. So how do you actually choose one? Because not every single niche is a great niche. So number one, in order to choose a great niche, we have to first define what a great niche is. So to determine what a great niche is, ask yourself these following questions. Number one, does that industry actually have the money to pay you it? And what I mean by that is too many people are going out there with industries or clients that are just starting up their business that probably don't actually have the money to pay for the services. So number two, can you get away with charging them a high ticket price? Because if you want to take your agency to $10, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 a month, you can't get away with just charging $500 a month retainers. You need to be charging a minimum of $2,000, and you can only do that if your client will be able to get an ROI. Number three, do you have the ability to help them? Don't take on every single client, that even if the ones that you can't service, because that's going to give you a bad reputation overall, and too many bad reputations will mean your agency is practically down in the stinker, which you don't want that. Trust me. And number four, do you actually like the industry yourself? Because it's going to help you a lot down the line if it's actually an industry that you enjoy. So for example, right, I have zero interest in med spas, so I wouldn't go after med spas, but hey, if that's an industry that you can wrap your head around and you can actually deal with learning about that industry, by all means, go after that. Me, myself, I love property. I love real estate. I love finance. I actually used to have an old career back in my job before my marketing agency that was a property manager. So I'm actually able to leverage that on the call. So a bit of a pro tip, if you are able to choose an industry that you've had experience with in the past, that is also going to increase your close rate and also give you that point of difference compared to your competitors. Also as well, do you have your foot in the door with some experience in that niche? So just touching on what I just said then. So if you have some experience in that industry, it's definitely going to help you with having that point of difference in that niche and in that industry that you're going after, because you'll be able to relate to them more on the call. You'll be able to understand more about the industry. You'll be able to understand the lingo that they use in their industry, which you can actually use on sales calls. Like for example, with me, I understand the words, the terminology that they use in the property and finance sector. So I'm able to have a much better conversation with these leads and these clients better than my competitors ever could. So before I show you what a good niche would look like, let's show you what a bad niche looks like, which I think is more important than actually understanding what a good niche is. So here's an example of what a bad niche looks like. So the bad niche, let's say, for example, is a flower shop. So don't get me wrong, I love a good flower, but they are worth a maximum of about $50 a bundle. So why the price of the flowers is actually important. It's important because you'll be getting paid in direct proportion to the value that you bring your client. And Elon Musk says it best. So Elon Musk says you get paid in direct proportion to the difficulties of the problems that you solve. Now keep in mind, this is the richest guy on the planet. So whatever he says, I would be listening to as well. So let's say you get really, really good results for your client and you're able to get them an extra 2 bundles of flowers sold per day just from your paid ad services alone. That means you generate them an extra $3,000 in sales for your clients. Now, what would that actually look like after you take your costs out? So on average, to run a successful Facebook or Instagram campaign, you probably need to spend no less than $30 a day in a budget, which will equate to roughly about $1,000 a month in ad spend. Now, let's assume the profit margins on the flowers are around 70%. I don't know, but let's just work it off 70%, which means the gross profit for your client after the costs are taken out for the cost of flowers is around $2,100 profit. Now, taking out the ad spend, that would leave your client with $1,100 in profit from the sales that you generated them. Now, keep in mind, you still have not yet charged your actual service fee in order to fulfill the service that you've done for your client. So you would only be able to charge your client around $500 a month, as you need to get your client a good ROI to keep them on as a paying client for your business. So that's an example of a bad niche, because nobody wants to do all the same work for just $500 a month when you could easily go charge a higher ticket service for a client for an industry that actually has money. So this is an example of what a good niche looks like. Real estate, right? An average lead for a real estate agent is probably worth about $10,000 minimum. So they actually have the money to pay you for the services, and 99% of all real estate agents want more properties to sell. So where the real magic happens is when you actually call up each of the leads to generate them and you pre-qualify and book them in to speak with your client, you'll be surprised how much more businesses love this service that you're doing. And like I said, if they're going to be choosing between you or your competitor, and your competitor doesn't call up the leads, but you do, they're going to go with you every single time. So for example, you could charge a real estate agent roughly $100 per appointment that you book with them, and that someone's wanting their house appraised that actually shows up to the conversation. So what I mean by that is, right, if you book in a lead for a conversation with your client and they actually show up to the call, that's when you can charge your clients. Now let's say for every 20 booked appointments that you get them, they convert one of them. So this would be the revenue for your client, which is the real estate agent. So revenue is $10,000 from the one conversion, booked appointments is $2,000, the ad spend's $1,000, and your fee, which would be $2,000 a month, which means your client made a profit of $5,000 while you made $4,000. How much better is that than just charging the $500 a month? So that's what I call is a good niche or a good industry to go out and actually work with. So if you guys are wanting to go after the real estate industry, which is actually the industry that I'm in currently, feel free to. I mean, probably not going to beat me, but worth a chance. So how do you actually go out there and get clients for your business? So getting clients is all about mass volume of outreach. Everybody talks about it. You got to be doing cold calls, emails, DMs, everything like that. So here's exactly what I do inside of my agency in order for my business to bring on more clients consistently. So number one, we do about 500 cold calls a week. So I don't actually do as many cold calls myself anymore, which if you want, you can check them all out on my TikTok back when I used to be absolutely awful with cold calls, all the way up to the point where I was actually converting quite a few people off cold calls. I actually now have a team who do the cold calls for myself, but I won't get into that. That's probably something for another video. We also do about 500 emails a week, along with about 100 DMs that we send. But from doing cold calling, you'll be able to get the best responses because you'll be able to hear firsthand what your niche likes and choose and think about your services, and then you'll be able to craft what I call as an irresistible offer by doing so. So when I first started working with mortgage brokers, I had an offer that was guaranteeing 5 quality booked appointments per month. absolutely dog shit. We were able to get 1 or 2 clients on from that, but by listening to these brokers on the phone, I was able to understand what their pain points were, what their desired outcomes were, and I was able to create an offer around that, which increased our conversion rate and definitely increased the amount of clients that we brought on. So you may need to change your pitch / offer 3 or 4 times before finding one that actually works, because that's literally what I had to do inside of my agency. Now, you're probably not going to know what to change your offer or your pitch to unless you do the outreach like I said above. So I would personally say you should be doing more than 500 cold calls a week if you can, because the more is going to be obviously speeding up the success rate for your agency and the amount of clients you'll be getting on. So you'll only know how to create your offer once you've done the outreach, and that's the most important part. I cannot stress that enough. Now I'm about to get into my favorite way of how to actually get clients for your business, and that's just posting online and building a personal brand. So in case you guys haven't seen already, I do have a TikTok where I've documented my entire journey from when I first started my agency to where I'm actually up to now with my agency. And doing that, I was uploading all of my cold call videos, all the ones that worked, all the ones that didn't work, and doing that there, I was able to bring on about 8 to 9 clients for my agency, which resulted in about $15,000 a month of recurring revenue just from posting on TikTok alone. So if you guys haven't already, I would strongly advise to start up your own personal brand online. Your videos could start off being shit. I mean, they are when you first start posting online, but they'll only get better over time. It's like reps when you're going to the gym. You'll naturally increase the amount of weight that you can do, and then obviously the better quality of the videos will increase as well. So that's basically it, guys. So I wouldn't start a regular SMMA. I would be starting a booked appointment / marketing agency. That's my personal opinion, and that's what's worked best with me. It's also allowed me to really separate myself from the competition. So if you guys are looking to go out there and start up your own business, I would definitely be adding that service in there. So if you guys want to see more videos on how to start your own marketing agency, all you have to do is hit subscribe, turn the notification bell on, and you'll be sent a notification next time I post. So catch you later.